Digimon Seekers has only 2 parts of the first chapter out right now, and it is already probably one of my favorite things that Digimon has done so far. It's everything I was hoping it would be, and then some. So what I want to do in this video is not only just do a quick little breakdown of the first 2 parts of Chapter 1, which are the most recent parts of Seekers that are out currently, but also go over some of the themes and references that might have gone over your head, and more importantly, talk about some fan theories. This video is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Factor. Fitness starts with food, and Factor makes it possible to make meal prep a lot easier by delivering ready-to-eat, chef-prepared, fresh, never-frozen meals to your doorstep for you to eat within 2 microwave minutes. Meal plans offer variety with a rotating menu of over 27 meal options and 33 plus add-ons like smoothies, keto shakes, desserts, and more. So use my link to go to go.factor75.com and use my coupon code FACTORSE36088 to get 50% off of your first box. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring this video. At this moment, Chapter 1 is being released in chunks throughout this week. And then once this week is over, we'll be getting a full chapter every week. One thing first, and that's make sure that you turn off Google's auto-translate and turn on the English translation on Digimon.net's website. It does make it better, but it's still sadly machine translated, so that is kind of annoying. So there are some parts that might feel like they don't make any sense, and that's because they're being machine translated. What we start off with, it talks about how there are some Tyrannosaurus Rexes running around. It's trying to set the stage that, like, look at these giant, like, T-Rexes, but they're actually not. They're not in a field 67 million years ago. They're actually underground in some kind of, like, modern setting. And then we were told that these are Tyrannomon. So there's 3 Tyrannomon trying to chase down a Digimon. We're not too sure, but they get attacked. One of them gets badly injured, and then we kind of cut back over to our main character, Eiji Nagatsumi. So Eiji is on his phone scrolling through what is called Grim, and Grim is very interesting. It's like a mixture of like WeChat, Reddit, 4chan, and Coinbase a little bit. Definitely kind of like this dystopian, cyberpunky type of website that is the hub for a lot of illegal activity. We start learning more about what this Grim thing is. So here's an excerpt. Grim is a pan-global communication tool. In addition to the basic short messages, video chat, voice chat, live streaming functions, there are various communities based on group channels. The total number of users is probably the highest among all social networking sites. The most distinctive feature is that it also serves as a financial tool using proprietary cryptocurrency, DC, Digicoin, forming a single economic zone. However, it's also half illegal. Grim is a must for freelancers like Eiji who are looking to make money, as it serves as a venue for information gathering, private sales, and crowdsourcing. Grim is essentially a networked republic based on a new set of values. To speak, the scale of its economy is such that it now threatens the real world's major powers. That is very interesting. So they're already kind of setting up the tone of this, which is going to be like pretty dystopian. Grim is where a lot of these hackers communicate with each other. It's also starting to become its own kind of digital republic with its own currency. Obviously very seedy, kind of scary site almost. The interesting part about the whole Digicoin thing is that this really isn't too far off from the way they're kind of setting the stage in Cyber Sleuth. Honestly, a lot of Seekers, if you've played the games, might remind you a lot of Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, and that's because they're both based off of the same thing, which is the VPET lore. The VPET lore is very cyberpunk like this, and this is just kind of furthering it. The introduction of a proprietary cryptocurrency, I think, is very interesting as far as like a story perspective, because this is not trying to like glorify it and make it seem like this is this cool thing. It's trying to show that putting Digimon for bounties using this cryptocurrency, but also I really think this last part where it mentions that the scale of its economy now threatens the real world's major powers. I wonder if they're actually going to tie that in with the fact that the police are also trying to crack down on this illegal internet activity. I don't know if it's gonna get that far, but I really like the idea idea of that cyberpunk socio-political commentary in a way. It's very interesting. Like, I don't know how deep that part's gonna get, but I just think it's really interesting. We haven't been introduced yet to the Sons of Chaos. We don't know what their goal is yet, but that's definitely gonna be interesting seeing how that may tie into what their goals are and what the main conflict of this entire series is going to be. We find out that somebody is trying to find a Black Agumon, and this Black Agumon has shown up in the trailer. It also showed up in the most recent trailer that was dropped when this came out for Chapter 1. So it seems that this Black Agumon is going to be a very important character to the entire story. Edgy doesn't even believe it's real, and then he realizes that his third Tyrannomon is injured, and he realizes it on his Digimon XL. One thing I do want to mention is that Eiji at this moment does not have a Vital Brace or the Digimon Linker. He has Digimon XL. So this is a VPET that came out back in 2004. This is essentially the device he has. Eiji's device in the actual toy has Tyrannomon as the default champion level Digimon, which I think is really, really cool that they actually like really kind of like set that up. The thing they mention about this is they call it a dock, first of all, which I think is really cool. So dock is the default kind of term for a VPET / Digivice. They called them docks back in the day even. This is not like a new term. That's what you would call this. This is a Digimon dock. And so his dock has been modified. I'm assuming it's also been modified so he can hold 3 of Digimon are here. And he uses it to kind of like feed his Tyrannomon, take care of them, but also send them on missions so that he can get money, and that's kind of like his current deal. Something I think that's interesting where they're kind of setting up, Eiji is kind of a goober. I mean, they mentioned that he is a loser. He notices that like his Tyrannomon is injured and like raises his voice, and a group of high school students just like kind of stare at him like he's a weirdo, which I think is great. And then it mentions this is not a game, this is not some form of play. Eiji is a code cracker, a hacker who is a person who possesses outstanding computer-related skills. Code crackers are hackers who are willing to engage in illegal or gray area activities. Tool settings, capture, reassign target to Madoki Betamon. And then he says like, oh, you'll pay for underestimating Eiji Natsumi, aka Cracker Fang. Again, he's like a goober. He's definitely like a weirdo. And I like that about him already. So the thing about this that I think is very interesting is that, again, tool settings, capture, that might sound, again, familiar if you've played Digimon Cyber Sleuth or Digimon Hacker's Memory. Now, the Digimon Capture, it is a code that was made way back with the original docks and the original VPETs to capture Digimon data and allow you to raise them on our docks or our VPETs, our Digimon devices. Our VPETs are devices that are loaded with the Digimon Capture program. Back in the day, very much locked to a device, but in Cyber Sleuth, they were able to download the Digimon Capture device on whatever device they had, whether it be a wearable, like the main character's goggles, or another type of device, like a computer. And that's pretty much the end of Chapter 1-1. Right off the bat, Eiji and Lugumon were shown off in the card game. Eiji has a card with inheritable effects at the bottom, which is very interesting because so far the only tamers we've seen with inheritable effects were the ones that can fuse with their Digimon, like the ones from Frontier. People are saying that they might actually do this for Seekers. People are theorizing it. I don't think it's a bad theory because I theorized that in Ghost Game, that's what they were going to do. I was convinced that Siriusmon was like a bio-merge of Hero and Gammamon. We might actually get that in this or something very, very similar. Something I've noticed in the trailer, and even going back to the original trailer, is this trailer starts out and Eiji is like this hologram, but he's in a physical world. And this physical world, the Digimon are physical like beings. They're not holograms. When we see Lugumon, Lugumon is like a hologram when he's in our world. Looking really closely at the little city, one, all the billboards and signs are in Digicode, and two, this background, this city looks exactly like the city background in the Lugumon dim. I am assuming this is the digital world. Instead of having Digimon physically take space in our world, they can only show up as holograms. And when we go into their world, we show up as holograms there. So that's kind of how they're bridging the gap between the two worlds, essentially. I feel like this might be some kind of effect that the Mind Link system has. He's not physically in the space, he's just showing up as a hologram, but he's physically, essentially, in Lugamon's mind. We see the abandoned electronics building. We see Professor Ryu Senji with, I believe it's a Digimon color. It's definitely one of the Brick V pets, and he has a Madoki Betamon on it. He then gives Edgy the Digimon Linker Band. So then we see one of the police officers. I can't remember her name. She is a certified baddie, though. She is so hot. Then he does Mind Link with Lugamon, and it kind of like jacks him into the digital world, essentially. So again, we don't know exactly how Mind Link works, but it's very interesting that like he presses the Mind Link, he essentially jacks into the digital world, and then he's right next to Lugamon and his eyes are red. And then Lugamon's gem on his forehead lights up like if it's interfacing with Edgy. So we're not too sure how this works. Hopefully we'll get some kind of explanation in chapter 1 how this whole system works. We see the prototype doc, which I think is so fucking cool. This prototype doc showed up at the 25th anniversary event that they had sometime last year, and they said that this was genuinely one of the prototypes for the original Brick V pet. That's what they told us, but like, I don't really believe that. I just don't think that this is like an actual real prototype. I think that was just them kind of trying to hype up Seekers, and now it's showing up in Seekers. So this is the first version of what this became. Hopefully we'll get this one day. I would love to get, I mean, this shouldn't be too hard. It's just a shell. Then a giant portal is opening up, and Black Agumon gets sucked into there. We don't know what the hell's going on. We got a new Trash Girl. I didn't know this. I didn't realize this when we were covering the characters. She has a Numemon pin on her jacket. So Numemon's her partner Digimon, which I think is fucking amazing. Always love to see some more Trash Girls. I stan. And we see like she's in here too as a hologram. So she's mind linked with Numemon. And then we see Judge, and he's also mind linked with Pulsemon. Then we get this cool like Iron Man HUD shot of Edgy. Lugamon evolves into Lugarmon. And Lugarmon is really cool. He looks like Nargacuga, honestly. A lot of people have mentioned that. I think it's really cool. Pretty much it for Digimon Seekers at the moment. I'm very excited. As you can tell, I'm like talking like a mile a minute. I'm super excited about this. I think it's really, really cool. I'm loving the themes and the things they're setting up right now. I definitely think this is going to be like a deeper story. Like if you were disappointed with Ghost Game and how it handled its story, I think this is definitely a nice palate cleanser for you, because I really feel like this is the main part of this is telling a serious, you know, serialized story that takes place in Digimon. And again, if you like Cyber Sleuth, I really think you're going to like this story. Sadly, you know, it is a little hard to read. We'll be talking about this more for sure, and I gotta make another video about the Vital Bracelet B spring announcement thing that they did too, so expect that this Sunday. We're gonna be 2 Digimon videos this week. I'm spoiling you guys this week, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Take it easy. So hyped for Digimon Seekers. Let me know what you guys are excited for, and as always, peace.